Hey everybody, here we go. Soul Spa and Bev Wood is going to tell us about the last full moon of the year. Ain't that the truth, huh?
No, we have one more, Paul. It's in Capricorn.
There's one more this year?
Yeah, on the 21st. At yeah. Oh, no, I'm talking about that's the winter solstice. You're right. You're right. This is
Okay.
the last one.
Whoa.
I know. What?
All right,
Okay.
so let's talk about the last full moon.
The last full moon.
And
That's
then
right.
you'll do a little thing about the solstice too, won't you?
Sure. Yeah, of course. That's going to be a big one. So yes, I will be.
Let's talk about the full moon today. Take it away.
Okay. All right. So, yes, this is the last full moon. Some people are calling it a super moon. Okay, whatever. They're all super, actually. But this is the Sagittarius Full Moon Festival. It is tomorrow, Thursday, December 4th. And the exact time, it will be 6:14 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can subtract or add wherever you are. So let's just remind ourselves everything is a polarity in the physical world. And so in a full moon time phase, it's the moon and the sun are in exact polarity. The reason that the moon looks full is because the full light of the sun is on it. And so we have this polarity. And in this one, we have Sagittarius, which is going to be the sun sign. We're in the sign of Sagittarius, which is divine consciousness. And then the moon, its polarity is in Gemini or mass consciousness of humanity. And they are both very profoundly linked to humanity. They're both very human signs. So this is a finishing up this last full moon of the year. It's very, very important for us to participate in this because it offers us, the fourth kingdom, amazing opportunities to align our consciousness with the divine will and consciousness. That's really what we are being asked to step into more and more. So we are following the astrological story of light. Remember, and all of these signs and energies are unfolding light of some kind. And in Sagittarius, we find it is a beam of directed, focused light. And that's very important, what I'm going to be talking about with Sagittarius, a beam of directed, focused light. Because this beam of light reveals even a greater light, a light within a light. It's very, very lifting, as you're going to see. Sagittarius is all about our spiritual values, our spiritual laws that we try to follow in our daily lives. It is spiritual law and truth. I will say, Sagittarius, if anybody has a um, either a sun or a rising or some other things that are very prone to Sagittarius, it can be painfully honest. They are painfully honest because they want to just reveal the truth. And part of that is that spiritual law we are evolving into. So it is a mutable or flexible fire sign, very interesting, which rules the abstract mind. It is a superconscious mind. That's one of its abilities. It can absorb all that abstract thought from the higher mental planes and it's able to release that information into the lower mental plane, and it uses its polarity of Gemini to help it do that, as we will talk about later. So its keynote is I perceive. I In many ways it knows, it perceives already that higher spiritual essence that we are. And that's the truth that it is trying to ground into its experience. It offers us expanded opportunities for spiritual growth. Its ruler is Jupiter, which is that the biggest planet in the solar system. It brings blessings, but it's also an extreme thing. So anything, even if it's good, is out of balance. So it is the spiritual planet. It holds the love wisdom ray. So, it's considered the father. So Sagittarius very, very linked with this higher spiritual activity. It is the sign of the dedicated, focused visionary. Visionary, well, like I said, with pure motive and intention. It fixes its sights on a goal, and it's the higher goal that it is interested in. So its soul keynote is I see the goal, I reach that goal, and then I see another. Its main purpose is to free itself from the prison of the personality life and to wing its way to higher experiences, which is actually at some point a particular initiation, we call it. So, as I said, Sagittarius demands freedom. It is one of the signs of humanity, and humanity's struggle to free itself from the control of the personality. This is huge. This is exactly what's going on right now. It's very profound with this full moon, as I said before. Let's talk about the glyph. All of the signs, all of the planets have these symbols, these glyphs, as they're called. And Sagittarius is very interesting because we have seen its evolution. It's in the beginning, its glyph was a symbol of the centaur, that half horse, half human, and it was holding an arrow, an arrow. Now it is just the arrow. So you see the evolutionary process of us, actually, because we're trying to move away from that ancient half animal, half human, and just be pure thought. That's really what that arrow represents, a thought form that is directed towards a specific goal, a vision that the Sagittarian holds. And this is the higher spiritual goal that humanity itself is aspiring to. So let's talk about the polarity, which is, I said, Gemini. And between these two, this polarity is the story of an unfolding consciousness. Gemini's phrase is, I think. So Gemini thinks and Sagittarius perceives. So remember, Gemini is a mutable air sign and it rules the concrete reasoning mind. So this is that polarity, that reasoning mind that is always searching and wanting to collect information. It's a lot of mental activity. So, and this is where in Gemini that we become aware of our relationships, our inner family, our relationship to our environment, our circle of friends. It is where we begin to learn and collect knowledge. So I will say Gemini, there's a couple of halls of learning. Gemini represents the halls of learning, and then we step into, as you're going to see, that hall of knowledge, hall of wisdom that Sagittarius brings. So like I said, Gemini is a lot of mental activity. It's ruled by Mercury, so it's like everywhere. And it is the mind in activity, whereas Sagittarius, we always think about a mind at rest, silence. This is the only way that you can comprehend and truly be downloaded with spiritual law and truth, is if your mind is registering silence. And then we can truly perceive all that spiritual truth that we really are looking for, because our nature is to be that. So remember, we're evolving into the truth. That is what Sagittarius is here to connect us with. So if you look at Gemini, the glyph, we see that it's two pillars connected at the top and the bottom. and it creates a portal. Think about that, a doorway. So these two pillars on that either side of that doorway represents the duality of spirit and personality, which is really the two things that we're talking about here. The work of Gemini, I don't know if you remember when I was talking about that at the full moon. The work of Gemini is to blend two energies of the heart and of the head. Okay. When they are fused and blended, then we are allowed to walk from the halls of learning through that portal of Gemini into the halls of wisdom that is Sagittarius. So I'll just say, as a fire sign, let's just go over real quickly. The water signs are always about emotional energy. The earth signs are always practicality, um, experiencing life in practical, more traditional ways. And the air signs are always mental. So, what about the fire signs? They're not really, they're more of a spiritual element to them. Aries, the heart in the head, I'm sorry, the fire in the head. Leo, the fire in the heart. Well, when you blend heart and mind, heart and head, as I said, Gemini is part of that. Then we have the blended of mind and heart. It becomes wisdom. And that is what Sagittarius is. So that triangle of fire is working as well to lift us, to spiritually and reinforce for us that we are here to spiritualize this earth. Earth is, by the way, one of the both of those signs are the only two signs that the earth rules at different levels. Very interesting. So as I said, this is a very profound full moon because Sagittarius is such a human sign. Its polarity is also so it's a time for us to, in our minds, in our higher concepts, in our searching for the truth, spiritual law, that we can align ourselves. It's time for us to do that. So I was talking about Sagittarius being the visionary. I see a goal, I reach that goal, and then I see another. Always, always. Humanity itself is the visionary for the new age. It is here. It is here. We have to, as a group, begin to set our sights on a higher frequency, a higher goal for what we want to do, how we want to live on this earth. We are part of the plan, remember. So, it it happens in our daily living. We have to come into the silence in our hearts, and we have to bring our minds together to envision a more spiritualized earth. It's sink or swim at this point. We need to, our communities are building, our support systems are building. We're speaking those languages that are here to connect us and hearts and minds. And so I know that whatever goal that we can set before us, we can reach. That is what the promise of this full moon is. So, really, when you take the time tomorrow, sometime in these next 3 days, remember the day before, so that would be today, is the day of preparation when you start to prepare yourself to receive. Tomorrow is the day of safeguarding, where you become a chalice for those incoming energies of the two signs and the planetary rulers of these two signs and the earth itself. And then on Friday, it is the day of precipitation, when you and contribution, when you become the one that shares all of that energy in your sphere of influence. This is participating. This is great service that we can give at this time every month. This is why I'm doing this, because the greater group in the world is focused on this. We must participate in these full moon celebrations, these festivals, and it's going to become even more necessary as we move forward. So, Sagittarius is that visionary. Let's step into that. Check out within yourself what you envision humanity looking like. You can begin to do this in your own life. So, I wish you all full moon blessings, and let's move forward as a group. Let's do our work here. Thank you.
And thank you. So I got a question of because in the beginning you talked about those who have a Sagittarius rising or a Gemini. So these full moon celebrations that we're talking about, it, do they have different effects specifically depending on our own particular chart, as we call it?
Absolutely. My goodness. Like if you have a Sagittarius sun, moon, rising, when that becomes full, it's going to stimulate that natal placement wherever whatever house it's in. Um, the of course it's especially the degree. It's going to make a conjunction or a square or some kind of an aspect that will stimulate that person in specific ways. So yes, this is what we look for. Um, I know you have a Sagittarius rising. Okay, so as we know, Sagittarius, the rising sign indicates our purpose, our soul purpose. So for you, it's like that's going to be highlighted. So it's up to us to take a look at those kinds of that activity and really ponder and contemplate what that might mean moving forward, you know, check it out within ourselves. Yeah.
So then let me ask you this. Are you still doing helping people understand their astrological charts? And how do you differ from what people think of as astrological charts? I think you call it esoteric astrology.
Yeah, there's traditional astrology, which is what, of course, I was trained in. But over the years, because of my other work, I became, yeah, I think it was a natural unfolding anyway. Esoteric astrology, I will say this, traditional astrology is more centered on the personality life. Esoteric astrology can also be called soul-centered astrology. So when I do a reading, my main concern there, I start out with a triangle. Triangles are very powerful, and this is what we're all moving into the work. Um, so I take the sun, moon, and the rising sign, because I know that if you look at that rising sign, the ascendant, it's going to tell us what the unfolding possibilities, called the sun of possibilities. We have to look at that because that whole chart is really there to support the soul purpose. So the moon is the past, the sun represents the personality nature. Those two have to come into an integration so it can fully support moving forward what that soul purpose is. So I have to look at that triangle. That's where I always begin because it gives me really amazing insights into what is being having to the patterns of the past that belong to the soul are needing to be released. And then where that person is now in their present experience as a personality and what that integration involves. And then of course you have to look at, well, what's coming? What's the possibility in this lifetime? I'm here to serve the soul. That's my purpose as a personality. But what I want to know is how do I, and from the past and the present, able to empower and serve the soul purpose in this particular incarnation or life experience. So it really does reveal much of it's not just, well, oh, I see you're here to have three children and you're going to get married and oh yeah, that's very personality stuff. But we want to really get to the juice of it, right? So yeah.
All right. So if anybody's interested, contact Bev at the Soul Spa. And we look forward to hearing about the upcoming equinox.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a
Good.
big one.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, Bev. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone. Thanks, Paul.